Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
Hey, yo, what up, everybody? It is 9 o'clock Thursday, Eastern Standard Time, and it's your boys, the Mike and Mish, with Mike and Mish Show. Mike, right before I got on here,
yes,
my foot fucking unplugged my entire power source to everything right here.
Nice.
Lost everything. Right when the 5-minute timer started, I went to move, and my foot shut it all down.
Wonderful.
I was like, what the fuck? I had to fire everything back up, get the light back, turn my screen on over here. You know what time it was when I had it all set?
20 we're like 20 seconds left.
20 seconds
left.
That. Yes, 20 seconds left on the clock, man.
I didn't panic not one time. Can you believe it?
Well, you didn't have to panic because I was panicking myself, dude. So anyways,
nice.
Now, hey, crisis averted. We are here. It is Thursday, back-to-back nights, the Mike and Mish Show. We got a double header for you guys. Both these gentlemen are going to fight each other August 16th in Kansas City. We'll start the show off with Blaine Warbritton, and then we'll bring on Justyn Martinez after him. We'll talk to him separate. We're not going to bring them on and have them jaw with each other on here because we don't do that shit here. Unless they wanted to, but
yeah, I heard they really love each other. That's through the grapevine. I didn't know that till today, but I did find that out. Let's give a real quick shout out to those who are here. Big Ben, Julie, Audam, Swervo, Cuts, Big Ben. What is going on? Absent-minded, Falcon. Everybody's here. Rick Caruso, Joe Ivy, present and accounted for.
As
Welcome
always,
back to the show.
As always, you know, Joe Ivy has been a day oneer from episode 1 of the Mission Accomplished podcast before it morphed into the Mike and Mish Show. And now here we are 290 episodes into this bitch. And we just keep getting, I feel like it's like riding a bike for us, Mike. Yeah, I just almost lost the entire goddamn show. And
like
here we are.
Day one shit right there. And you're pulling the cord out on everything. But here we are.
Oh, stressful.
What do you say we do the sponsor reads and get this show on the road?
Let's do it. First off, we got the Bucked Up supplements, buckedup.com. Get over to buckedup.com. Get some of the best supplements on the market, some of the best sugar-free energy drinks on the market. The apparel is comfortable as hell. The gym wear is awesome. And I stand by I stand by this statement. I will say it till I'm blue in the face. Best pre-workouts in the game, and I've taken every supplement under the fucking sun. Get over to buckedup.com. Use promo code Mike and Mish 20. Buy yourself some of these awesome products and save yourself 20% off on your total purchase.
Hey, dynamic life, sexual health, weight loss, and anti-aging. Retake control of your life by reaching optimal health. Visit www.livedynamic.com. It's the only online platform where you can become a patient in under 20 seconds. Also, check out their Instagram page at Live Dynamic. That's LIV Dynamic on Instagram.
There you go. And then you got to get over to at Rasha Revolution on Instagram or www.therasha.com and check out the craze, all the rage, right, Mike? All the rage with the Rasha. It'll put your mind right. And it is designed to elevate your mindset to an elite, high impact, high performance championship level. Mike and I did it in LA, and we've been hitting on all cylinders ever since. And I stand by that as well. So go ahead and get the Bucked Up Live Dynamic stack. You get jacked, you live forever, stop losing your hair, and you fuck like an animal. And then
strong like bull.
And then you get over to Rasha, get in the dome, cover your eyes up, listen to the tones, focus on what you want your future to be, and you're going to be great. I mean, all our sponsors are all about getting healthy, getting strong, living forever, and living on a fucking championship.
Positive, baby.
Yeah, I know. I love it. So with that said, guys, we're going to jump right into the show tonight. We've been burning it on both ends lately, so we're going to get this thing going, and we want to talk to these two fellas because they're going to get after it August 16th. First guest of the night is Blaine Warbritton. Mike, why don't you go ahead and bring him in?
Let's go.
What is up, Blaine? How are you? Welcome to the show. The Mike and Mish show is welcoming you to your first time here before you step into the squared circle for the first time. What up, dude?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Doing all right, man. We wanted to get you on. We know that you've been doing the rounds and representing the sport lately, and we don't know all that much about you, but we do know about your opponent. So, first and foremost, welcome to the BKFC. I know that you had a bare knuckle fight somewhere outside the BKFC. So why don't we start off with that, dude? Tell us a little bit about your combat sports background and tell us about the bare knuckle fight you had outside the BKFC before you came over.
So I've had over 40 amateur boxing matches, won a lot of tournaments out here. Like this event that we're doing is at Memorial Hall. I won the Kansas City Golden Gloves in Memorial Hall. So
nice.
Like I got a lot of history around here. So not new to combat sports at all. And then bare knuckle, I've loved it ever since I've first saw it. So a lot of it was watching it. And then once it got legalized here in the States, had that interest. Then I needed it legalized here in Kansas. And then it was just like, okay, now I need to get with the right coach and then just try to get on a card. And then once we got that lined up, we actually got a fight with a guy from Florida that flew in for the fight. And he previously fought for BKFC before the fight at a higher weight class. And then we kind of met in the middle a little bit. And then because I fight at 125, I think he fought that fight at 145 or 155, and we met at 135. And
was it like a local promotion or something out there? Or
yeah, it was just a little local show. It was boxing, MMA, and kickboxing, and then the one bare knuckle fight, which was our fight.
I love those mixed shows. They have them sometimes around here. We got the Mohegan Sun about half an hour from my house here, and They do reality fights. Do you ever hear of the reality fights? Reality
Nah.
fights are it's a mixture. It's a mix of like amateur and pro, but they'll have everything on there. They'll have jujitsu matches. They'll have Muay Thai. They'll have MMA. They'll have boxing, and they haven't sprinkled in bare knuckle yet, but it is sort of like you were just saying. It's kind of cool. If you're a combat sports fan,
It's
you go
about
out
time they do.
right.
Oh,
You go
yeah.
out. If you're a combat sports fan, you go out to reality fights, and you'll just see a little bit of everything, and it's kind of
But every time there's a bare knuckle fight on the card, it's the fight everybody's talking about.
absolutely, absolutely. So with all the gloved boxing experience and gold gloves and over 40 amateur fights, what was it about bare knuckle that was so intriguing? Since you seem pretty successful with the gloves on, so what was it that made
Yeah.
you take them off?
A lot of it goes clear back to my childhood, really. Like growing up, I grew up in a real poor environment, and a lot of drugs around, a lot of just people living fucking wild. My parents were real young, so my dad was only like 21 when I was born, and so just kind of growing up with my parents. My dad was just big into street fighting, and I was just remember just being a little kid, just watching my dad fucking knocking people out. And so I was like, that was where my love for fighting began. Like, it wasn't like we were sitting down watching fucking boxing matches on TV or anything. It was like, I'm going outside to watch dad smoke these fools. And then from there, it just kind of was like, well, that's what I like. But there was no bare knuckle. So it was just like, okay, what's the closest thing I can get? Let's go box. And then I was still getting in street fights all the time and shit because I was just a wild ass kid. And then
When you were a kid and you were enjoying watching your dad beat all these people up, did you ever get your dad into a fight by being like, my dad can fuck your dad up type shit?
no, because I kind of my dad kind of raised me to, like, be a little more respectful for that. Like, you don't really go looking for the fight, but when they come, you handle business type shit. But I mean, at 4 years old, I was also a maniac. I mean, my mom will tell stories of me at 4 years old, fucking 8-year-old, 9-year-old kids up still on their bikes and shit, and their mom's coming and knocking on the door. Hey, your son's beating my son up. Like, my son's fucking 4. What do you mean?
So you were destined for this shit, man.
I've been fighting my whole life.
I like it. I like it. So everybody in the comment section is very very smitten with your beard, my friend. You got a very
it's a good one.
How long you been growing that?
Well, this is like kind of a shorter version. Like, if you go back and look at old pictures or my last fight on YouTube or anything, like, I had a fucking giant beard in that. So I'm much more cleaned up now. I was living wild there for a second.
Well, a fella named Michael Warbritton, so I'm assuming he's either a brother or a father or a cousin.
That would be my dad.
There's your dad. Your dad says you got another fist underneath that beard.
Chuck Norris style.
Chuck Norris. Yeah, Chuck Norris style. That's badass, dude.
Learn from the greats.
Right.
So Mike, we gotta ask him, right? Mike and I found out today that you and your opponent know each other and you don't like each other. So what's the story there? I don't know anything about this. Found out today.
I don't know Justyn personally at all.
Okay.
So I can't. So I can't. I'm not one to make shit up or do false this, that, or the other. Like, the only thing I'll say is I don't think he's a good fighter. I don't like. I see a lot of one dimension to his game. I don't think he has heart. Like, I've seen him take knees, quit. Like, I'll say that, but I'm not gonna say anything about him as a person. I'm not gonna bring anything from his personal life into it. I don't know him like that. All I can do is judge him as a fighter. I've heard from people that I've trained with that do know him that he's a decent dude. So, I mean, I'm not gonna make some shit up about the guy.
Okay. All right. Then we got kind of like a little.
We got false information.
We got some false info.
Some BS around here.
And I'm gonna tell this guy. I don't know if he's in the comments, but you were wrong, sir. You were wrong. You were wrong. So you've had a lot of chance to look at film on Justyn. You said you just told us that you don't think he's a good fighter. August 16th, it'll be your first time in BKFC.
Yep.
Not your first time with the gloves off. How do you see a fight between you and Justyn going? Do you see it going out of the first round or what?
I don't see him making it out of round one. I see him being uber aggressive as he is with everybody, unless he wants to change it up and try to box with me, which would be the dumbest thing he could ever do. So what he'll probably do is bull rush me like he does everybody else. He'll fucking throw a bunch of overhands that I'll see from a mile away. I'm going to fucking tee off on him. He'll fucking go down from something. And then that'll be a wrap. I hit way harder than anybody he's faced up to this point. When he feels what I have, he's going to be like, "Get me the fuck out of here."
I'm interested in this. You know,
yeah,
go
I
ahead,
see
Mike.
you like to throw the uppercut. Is that like your favorite shot, or in that fight that you had, you were throwing those uppercuts and landing almost at will, I think, and that's what you really caught him with. I don't know if that's your special move there.
No, a lot of that was just seeing the opening. I saw it. Like, that's the thing too. I was coming off a big layoff going into that fight, and so I was kind of trying to fill out, just kind of get my feet back under me. But I could see the opening there, and then once I got loose, once I started feeling good, then I just like capitalized on it. I feinted him, made him throw the overhand that he kept wanting to throw. He threw it. I just fucking backstep, double uppercut. The first one I landed kind of awkward, and so I just like quickly readjusted and then caught him clean, and then that was pretty much it. He was gone afterwards. We were in the back, and he couldn't remember anything that happened in the fight.
Oof.
Yeah, it was.
Ouch.
Yeah, I caught him real clean. I mean, I hit fucking hard too, but I didn't even put much on it really. I was just trying to touch him.
Man, it's a different ball game for sure, though, right? Like when you take the gloves off, you do have to approach the sport a little different. You have all these boxing matches. You gotta defend a little different, right? When you don't have the gloves on, you can't.
Not for me actually. Like, I know that a lot of boxers will struggle coming into bare knuckle because of the big transition, but I was never big on like trying to block shots and cover up and hide behind the gloves. Like, I was always much more loose with the hands, head movement, footwork, just kind of being real loose and elusive. And so that transitions really well, because I think anytime you see guys cover up, I mean, shots slip in, they get caught, they end up going down. So I think my boxing style actually is really good for this. Plus, I've always kind of had like a style of like taking power off my punches to just try to like set shit up, and then once the opening's there, then explode and throw with power. And so that kind of helps too, with not having that like, oh, I need to land a big shot, go out there, throw a bunch of bullshit, hit an elbow, hit a forehead, crack my hand open, all that dumb shit.
So you're pretty confident in yourself in this fight. So you fancy yourself a pretty tough guy, I can tell. Got a lot of power in your hands, but that doesn't come from nowhere, right? I've seen you talk about your upbringing and how your parents had it hard when you were a kid, but they worked their asses off. Tell us a little bit about that story, because I feel like it made you who you are right here. You're very confident, right? And that just doesn't happen to everybody. So,
and one of the comments in the section does say "crazy family with big hearts," so that person knows what Mike's asking you about. So
that's a fact. I have a very crazy family with big hearts. Like, we're a loving, tight knit group, but we don't fuck around. Like man, my family, wild from childbirth. Like, fucking my mom and dad were young, struggling, didn't have no money, trying to fucking find a way to survive, doing whatever they had to do, hustling, just out there trying to survive, live, and take care of their kids. And then I was just growing up with my parents, just right along with them, going through it, just fighting on the streets, growing up in very diverse areas, and kind of, you get that little like, oh, there's the white kid type thing. Well, now all of a sudden you're fighting people just trying to defend yourself. And so I've just been fighting all my life. And then as we moved and kind of my parents really got their shit together, and it was just kind of like that wake up, like, oh, my parents, like, we were in this situation, but like they actually grinded and worked their fucking ass off to get us to where we're at now. And so then about that time was when I started getting into boxing and really finding an outlet for myself instead of just hanging out with all the fucking hoodlums I was hanging out with and going down the path I had teachers and principals and shit like straight up tell my parents like, your kid's going nowhere, he's probably going to end up dead or in jail. Like that's where they thought I was going, and I was like, I refuse to be that guy. Like I'll fucking find something. My mom found boxing for me, found a boxing gym, got into it, fucking fell in love with it, worked my ass off to get good at it, and now it's brought me all the way here.
That's awesome, man. Good for your mom doing that shit. Was it always out? Were you always out in Kansas? Like you always been out in that area?
Yeah.
No, the only thing I've only been to Kansas one time, Blaine, and Mike and I went out to the Wichita fights. And the one thing that I could say about our trip to Kansas is wind.
Oh, yeah,
wind.
It gets windy out here.
Dude, what the fuck? Like it was like
I didn't want to walk to Target. It was right next to the damn hotel, and I was like, you know what? That's the first and last time I think I'm gonna walk to Target.
Right. We walked over there once, and it was like walking into a 45-mile-an-hour headwind the entire time. And then when we were walking back to the hotel, it felt like the wind turned back around and it was blowing right in our face again. Yeah. And we're like, what the hell is with this part of the country here? This is nuts, man.
Yeah.
There's a reason we get so many fucking tornadoes.
Yeah.
It was nuts. I was definitely not dressed for it either because it was supposed to be like kind of nice. We're in the north. I'm from Rhode Island. He's from Connecticut. So I guess cold here. So I'm like, it's not that bad. Forget it. Next time I'm going bundled up, even if it's like 70, I think.
That's a Midwest saying right there. Like if it's you get that little weather and it'd be like, oh, it'd be nice if it wasn't so windy, or it would be nice if we could catch a little wind. Like the wind is like always like the parameter for why the weather sucks. Like we either don't have enough wind or we have too much wind.
And what part of Kansas are you from? Like, are you from Kansas City?
No, I'm North Topeka, baby.
North Topeka. And is Kansas City in Kansas? Am I being stupid here?
Yeah, we got Kansas City split. There's a Kansas side and a Missouri side to Kansas City.
Okay,
makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Right. I knew that I knew that part of Kansas City was in Missouri, and that always fucked me up. I never understood that. I'm like, what the hell?
I learned why it was that way. Do you know? I cannot remember why, but I had to do a mission. We're both in the military too, so I had to travel, right? And there was actually a tornado coming as we were driving to a hotel, and it was in Kansas City, but we couldn't figure out which one. So we were like, is it the like Marriott over here or the Marriott over there? And there's like tornadoes coming. We're like, we got to figure this shit out. You're going to take it away in this car. And then we looked up why it was split, and it had something to do with the property at the time. And when they put do you know why exactly? I cannot remember it.
Nah, I don't pay attention to dumb shit like that.
We did have some good barbecue out there, though. That's for sure.
We definitely got that barbecue out here.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Speaking of my dad, he'll fucking smoke up the best barbecue you've ever had.
Oh man.
Another thing that I remember about our trip to Kansas, Mike, there were a lot of fight fans, but a lot of the fight fans didn't know too much about the BKFC, but they knew the fighters that were going to be on when we mentioned the names of the fighters that were going to be on the card, they were all like, Dave Rickles was.
Dave Rickles.
Dave Rickles is like a rock star out there.
And they were like, oh, Dave Rickles is fighting? We're watching.
And then there was another dude, man. It was like an Olympian or like a former, like a junior.
Nico Hernandez?
Yes. Yeah, was it Nico or was Nico's brother fighting that night?
It could have been either one, but Nico was the one that fought in the Olympics.
Yeah, okay. I think it was his brother was fighting on the card out there when we were out there. And when we mentioned Nico's brother, they were all like, "Oh, Nico Hernandez." So like people knew about fighting, they just didn't know about BKFC. And I know that you have been doing your part out there. And I know that like they talked about it on the Bare Knuckle show the other day with Brian Sosha and David Feldman. They were happy with the fact that you were on like local news channels and stuff. Like, where did you get the in to pop onto these morning shows and start pumping the BKFC flag out there?
I mean, a lot of that's just fucking grind and hustle. I don't know why more guys aren't doing shit like that. Like, boom. signed to the biggest bare knuckle company in the world. Like, this is the major leagues. It's a big deal. Why not like approach anyone and everyone and be like, hey, this is happening. You want this or you like to be a part of your shit? And of course they're like, oh, somebody local's doing something big time. Like, let's get that on there. Like, it's not a hard sell. Like, I don't understand why people aren't marketing themselves, why people aren't selling themselves, why people aren't getting like I did. Let's see here. I did a podcast. I did the 2 news spots. I just did another podcast yesterday. Did another interview. Doing this podcast. I have another sports news spot Saturday. I mean,
damn.
Are we professionals or are we not professionals?
Right, and you're still 8.
People depend on the company to do that, and that might have been the way it was once upon a time.
Well, this ain't Don King days.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And I have heard people say in BKFC, more towards the past, that things are changing now. People are starting to get it. Not as many as I would hope, but people are starting to get it. And they would say, like, that's not my job. My job's to fight. It's their job to promote me. They're the promoters. And I'm like, okay,
not this
but
day.
Things are changing, and you need to get out there. Do you want to
be a star or not?
Right. And especially now when you have who you just saw in our transition, Conor McGregor was at Sturgis, absolutely just loves this sport. Kyle and I were able to talk to him, just us 3, for like 5 or 6 minutes. We got to pull him aside and talk to him. And this guy says he wants to take this company to the moon. He is fully invested. How do you feel about that?
I love it. I think Conor's fucking great for this sport. And Conor's one of those guys that's going to get it when us as fighters show our personality. And it's just another reason why I don't get why people are sitting there and acting like the BKFC needs to make them. The BKFC needs to make the BKFC bigger. Like, us as fighters, like, it's on us to make ourselves bigger, to market ourselves as a star, to put asses in seats that want to see us fight. That's not on David Feldman. That's not on Nate Shook. That's not on the BKFC in general. That's on us to go out and to get eyeballs on us and to make people want to watch us fight.
Man, you got a good mindset towards this thing for sure. I like what you're saying here. And with you promoting yourself and everything, and now making your debut in the BKFC flyweight division, before we wrap up, we do have to ask you about the division that you're stepping foot into. You got UFC veteran champion John Dodson at the top. You had the Dagoberto Aguero that went the distance with him, and I don't know if they're going to run that one back, but the rest of the division's kind of like, up for grabs there. So like, and in this sport, as crazy as it sounds, all you got to do is win 2, 3, maybe 4, but like, it's such a young sport, and like, even though we're in our 6th year, there's still like most of your division only has 1 or 2 fights. You know what I mean? Like, nobody has a ton of fights on their record. So if you go out there and you get a win, and then you go out and get another win, and then you go get one more win, there's a good possibility you're marketing yourself. You're out there. You're trying to get yourself popular in the fastest growing company in the world. You could find yourself in a title fight in a fucking year from now, maybe even 8 months from now, if you're busy enough. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how crazy it is in this sport. You can get 2 or 3 wins and be right there.
I have a feeling it's going to happen quick. I think the BKFC is going to see what they have in me, and they're going to fucking shoot me to the moon, because I'm going to fuck up Justyn Martinez. And then after that, I want somebody with a number, whether it's fucking Chauncey, whatever the fuck his name is, or J.R. Ridge or Tyler Randall, or one of these dudes, somebody with a fucking number next to their name. Boom, that automatically puts me right there in the rankings, right there in title contention after that. And I think with the way I market, the way I talk, the way I fight, I think that BKFC, David Feldman, Conor McGregor, I think they're all going to see dollar signs with me, and they're going to fucking try to run me and Dodson as soon as possible.
It's funny that you say that, and I don't know why I didn't think of this before. Aguero fought Dodson after 1 fight.
That's what I'm saying, and all that was off of performance. With me, they're going to get the performance, but they're also going to get the fact that I will sell this shit.
Man,
Like if I smoke Martinez and they decide to give me a title shot, like I am absolutely aiming to fucking shock the world. Give the BKFC a homegrown fucking world champion that isn't going to sit around on his ass and fucking not promote this shit. Like I'm going to go out there with that fucking belt. I'm going to make sure everybody knows who the champ is.
God damn. Mike, I'm glad we had him on because I didn't know much about you, Blaine, and now I'm excited. We know Justyn. We're going to talk to him in a minute. He's definitely hearing everything you're saying right now. So we're going to go ahead and let you go for today, but if we're going to give you a minute here, give your final thoughts, final words, send a message to anybody you want to send a message to, shout anybody out that you want to shout out, and we'll let you get going, dude.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Just Blazed Clothing Company. They've been with me from the beginning. They're making my fight shirts and everything. Really appreciate them. Will Blue, tattoo artist, he's sponsoring me for this fight too. Really hooked me up with some cool shit. And then Goat Combat Agency, who I'm signed with, fucking Scott Farley and them. That's the team right there. And then I just shout out to my parents, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my girlfriend, the kids, just everybody in my life that's rooting for me, that wants to see me succeed and shit. Like I appreciate everybody.
Good stuff, dude. We love Scott Farley, and we want you to ask him a question when you get off this interview with us.
Yes.
Call up Scott and say, "Tell me about the parking garage in Denver."
Yeah.
Tell me
Yes.
what happened in the Denver parking lot.
That sounds like a story.
Yeah.
Just ask him. It is a story.
You'll thank us later. You do.
Oh, yeah.
You will be
We've told
entertained.
it a couple times on the show, but it's too long to start now.
No, we're not going to say it. We're going to let your manager tell you about it, dude. Thanks so much for coming on here. Mike, do you have anything else for Blaine?
Yes, sir. And I do have it for everyone who is watching. Also, August 16th, Martinez versus Warbritton. You better be tuned in because this one is seemingly going to be very short if you go by the words of Blaine. And I see Justyn shaking his head too. So I don't think either one of them think this is making it out of the first round. I know Justyn's going to come in there swinging. We've seen him before. I cannot wait for this fight. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Go and ask Scott about that story. It's great. I promise you that. And we will have you back anytime you would like to come on. Everyone else, stay tuned. We will be right back with Justyn Martinez. Take it easy, Blaine.
Later, buddy.
Later.
Well, something we do at Grunt Style is we have a 4-toast salute. And there's no better way to start this evening off than toasting our boys and girls in the military today. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a drink, put that up high. For those that serve, cheers. To those who support us while we serve, cheers. To those young bucks still serving today, going over to the Middle East right now. Cheers. And to those who never came home, we'll never forget you. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the evening. We got the notorious MMA in the house. We got bare knuckle fighters. We got Grunt Style. We got free alcohol. No, I'm just kidding. But we got plenty of it. And we got a great band. So kick it off, kids.
Welcome, Justyn Martinez, back to the show, my man. We thought you would appreciate that little Grunt Style four toast salute to the troops there. Happened just the other night. How you doing, man?
Oh, some good shit. Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good as always, Justyn. So we just had your opponent on. We had never spoken to him before. He seems extremely confident going in to fight you August 16th. You heard the last few minutes of it. You were in the waiting room listening. First of all, how are you doing and what are you thinking after hearing what your opponent just said?
It's just fucking funny, man. Like, everyone down here knows the dude. He's got a big head. And at the end of the day, like Austin Lewis was talking about having a fucking war and da 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 da. And yeah, I don't know. I'm fucking excited. We'll see if he backs this shit up.
So you and Austin, so he said he didn't know you personally. Do you what do you know about your opponent besides what you just said other people say about him? Like, do you know a lot about him?
I met so when I fought Ridge down in Florida, my second fight, I met Paul Walters, and that was Blaine's debut because me and Rickles and Kayla were all down there, and they were looking for a matchup for Blaine. Walters on like fucking 2 weeks notice, 30-hour drive, 28-pound cut, was like, fuck it, yeah, let's go. So that's who he fought his debut with, the other promotion, whatever it was.
Was Paul Walters when we met you down in Florida? You just mentioned Dave, and what was the female's name that was with you guys down there?
Kayla Williams.
Yeah, was he there too? Did we meet him at the same time?
Paul was on that card. Yeah, we had met him. We were in the same locker room, so we had been bullshitting a little bit. And yeah, it turned out he ended up filling a spot up here on the card and fought Blaine, but at the end of the fucking day, it's at 25. He's 5'10", and I don't know, man. It'll be a good time.
All right, so I've been talking to Nate from No Quarter Combatives. I know Nate's been in touch with you, and Nate's great people, man. He takes care of, yeah, he is something else. So he's been like telling me about you and a few other fighters that he's been working with lately and helping you guys out. One thing he said, he told me Justyn is zeroed in. He's like better than ever, zeroed in. So tell us, you just fought in Japan a couple months back. Yeah. From then to now, what have you been doing? Have you been doing anything differently to prepare yourself for this one? Because Nate was like, I think Nate said you're going to see a different Justyn Martinez. He has zeroed the fuck in. So I'm curious to hear, what's changed. You've been a firecracker the entire time we've known you. So like you're gonna come out shot out of a cannon, swinging heavy.
Started. We are just getting started. Yeah, Japan. Shoot, I went to go. Richie asked me if I want to corner him fighting Lewis. Of course, I was like, yes. Date night. We'll go down there. I'll corner Josh, and it'll be a good time. And so the wife and I drove down there, watched that, and they were like, "Hey, you want to fight?" It was supposed to happen Knucklemania, and I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, it's okay. Some dude from Japan, whatever, cool." And then yeah, it got switched to Tokyo, so I got there, no corners, nothing. I think that was 2.5 week notice. And yeah, it was the experience of a lifetime. Like, I don't know if you guys watched that, but the show Ryzen puts on is phenomenal. Like, shoot, pay me $500 and I'll go and fight again now.
Justyn, when did you get out to Japan? Like, how long before you actually fought did you arrive in Japan?
Dude, I got there 48 hours.
No way. So the reason why I'm asking,
I remember, I think talking to Kevin Smith and you were there, and you were gonna fight, and it was like really close to I can't remember. It was right before Knucklemania.
Yeah, I literally 48 hours. I was landing in Tokyo. That's freaking crazy. 24 hours. It was fucking awesome, and I would do it again for free. Like, I cannot thank everyone enough for that experience.
Well, I am not you, and I'm not a professional fighter, and I just went to Japan with my family on vacation. We went out there, and it was 23 hours of travel. Because we had 2 stops on the way out there. We stopped in Chicago, and then we stopped in Tokyo, and then we went to Okinawa. Man, the time change is like crazy. Your sense of time is all fucked up because you're traveling into the future. I'm like trying to think of like what it must have been like to fight 48 hours after you landed. That's fucking crazy, dude.
It was all nuts. My rehydration was rough. Land of the rising sun. Like, did not realize it was that early. But whatever, it was a good fucking time. I will go and fight that fucking dude again, whenever, whatever. And yeah, it was awesome.
That guy was supposed to fight Kerry Caprio, I believe, and then he had to pull out. And he's supposed to fight.
I don't know. I remember after our fight, because I had some shit happen with coaches, and that was hands down the worst fight experience of my life.
Did you say the best worst?
The best worst, yeah.
Yeah, I had like my coaches, my corner had some shit go on in Dallas, and so I got to Tokyo by myself.
And did you fight by yourself? Or you didn't have your corner out there at all?
No, yeah, I fought a dude named Danny. The Rising guys hooked me up with, held some pads in the back, and like stepped in my corner. But I appreciate the fuck out of you, dude. But at the same time, it's like, you know how it is when it's Rickles or Bittler, like one of the dudes in your, I don't know. It was just,
yeah, they know you. You've been with them. Your guys are like kind of like brothers, like family. So it's a different feeling, I'm sure.
And also, you can communicate. They could probably communicate with you without actually communicating. You know what I mean? Like they could say something, and you just know what the fuck they're talking about without actually like saying a full fucking sentence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
think he
fucking
froze up.
like.
There you
go.
You're freezing up on us, Justyn.
So that part of it, like, oh.
There we go. You're back. You're back. You're coming back. You're coming back.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why. Like that threw me off more than I thought it would have. But fucking whatever. It was fun.
I bet it was. I would love to go out
so
there.
now you're back in
anybody, but
so this time around, you're back in your home state. You're back with your team. You're back training, and you're going to be fighting in front of your own people. What is the feeling right now? A week. How many days out are we? 8 days. 8 days out. What's the feel right? What's the feel right now in your camp?
Oh, fucking great! Like I'm at 136.5 right now. Like the cut is going awesome. I've never had a full 8-week camp. They've all been 3s. Like I think Chancey was 6, Ridge was 3. I can have 0 complaints. I'm ready to fucking see if this dude's backing up the shit coming out of his mouth.
I have a question about the scoring in Kansas, because we know they have open scoring there, right? Do you favor that or not? Do you like it, or do you prefer not to see it?
I don't care. I mean, you know who's in my corner. They're going to tell me if I'm getting fucked up or not.
True. But sometimes they could be wrong, right? You never know.
It's nice to know, but like at the end of the day, like I trust them either way. Like I don't look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people don't like it. Some people are like, oh, I don't want it, because I think it's more like the fans watching, like, oh, the guy's going to take his foot off the gas if he knows he's winning, or vice versa. And it's like, I don't know. I think it's beneficial, because, you never know where the judges are going. They're always all over the place. So I think it's kind of good to know where they're, how they're looking at the fight.
Yeah. Nope. Because at the end of the fucking day, someone's going to end up on a highlight reel the next fucking morning. And I don't want it to be me. Like, there's no letting off the fucking gas. My coach is in the fucking driver's seat and we're going.
Well, your opponent was just on here. He is pretty confident this is not leaving the first round. He will end you early. This is what he said. And then he's going to move on. And like, I got to be honest with you. I was impressed with the confidence in your opponent. I never met him before, but he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. He says it's not exiting the first round. What goes on in your head when you hear him say that?
Better keep his fucking hands up. Better keep his fucking hands up, because at the end of the day, he better be confident. Like you're stepping in there with I've had a fucking handful of these. I'm like, for a dumb wrestler, I'm feeling more confident in my stand up than I ever had. Like I just started boxing when I fought Chansey. And then before Tokyo I was working with Lewis, Nico's dad, and Dave, and at the end of the day, I have the best coaching in fucking Wichita, and I'm pumped night and day.
You just brought up Nico. We were just talking about him. We were talking about how, like, last time we were out there in Wichita, like the whole community around there, they all knew Dave Rickles and they all knew Nico and his brother. They knew the Hernandezes. Yeah. It's a fighter. It's kind of a fight community out there, huh?
I moved up here in like 7th grade from South Florida, and people get down in Kansas. I love it.
It definitely is. There are some towns we go to and people have no clue what's going on. Like they are just oblivious to fights. They're oblivious to BKFC. They have no like real local fighter that they're looking forward to. But Kansas was a bit different. Albuquerque's pretty good. Denver was decent too, actually.
Good time. Yeah.
You know, there was a couple pretty serious rugged bars out there too. Remember that, Mike? Like we went to a couple spots where we were like, "Oh, this is where you want to go on like a Saturday night if you want to just get shitty and fight somebody." Right here in these bars here. And those were the bars that liked your coach Dave Rickles the most.
Yeah, that's right.
The wife and I spot is, what is it, like the Shisha House, that sandwich shop right across the street from the hotel. That's the spot.
Well, on August 16th, you got yourself a confident debuter. We're happy to see you back, dude. And you're with a new man. You're with a new sort of management company, right? Can you tell us? It's kind of the same, but not really. It's new. What are we going? What do we got going on with you?
I mean, when I was in Albuquerque, my contract with Guerrilla Warfare was up, and Kevin was like, "Hey, you sign with anyone? No. You want to fight? Yeah. Well, you don't have to sign with us, but I got you one if you want it. It's in like a few weeks versus like whatever. I don't care who it's with. Let's go." So. I mean, one of those guys could probably talk a lot better into that. I'm just fucking here to throw hands, and Kevin and the team over there are awesome fucking dudes. So at the end of the day, I don't know all the details, but anyone looking to fight for a management company, Storm needs to be it.
Yeah, we like those guys, man. Brandon's a good dude. I know Roberto Armas. When he's not fighting people
on there, Brandon's been fucking helping me, blowing up my phone. Like, they're all on their shit, and I appreciate them.
We spent a lot of time with Roberto over the weekend in Sturgis, and he was telling us all about how he's been studying. He said he's been working as hard at becoming like the world's greatest management company. Almost as hard as he trains to fight, and I'm like, that's impressive. And he's a full-time airman for the Air Force as well. And so he's a busy fucking kid, dude.
Yeah, and he has he's doing a shit ton. And
but he killed it this weekend. So
good for him. He did. What'd you think about his performance against Shady Grady over the weekend?
I was fucking happy about it. Fucking pumped. Like, he's a cool dude. He's fucking in the service, and at the end of the day, I don't know. Some people are just a little too loud for me.
All right. Well, hey, before we let you go, we want to let you take a chance to shout some people out, say anything you want to say, send a message to your opponent if you want to send a message. Here's your time. Take a minute. Do your thing, man.
I got to thank everyone at 316. Like, our team is active as fuck, and those dudes, we've been pushing it. So everyone at the gym, thank you. All my sponsors, thank you. Freaking Nate, dude, you already know I appreciate the shit out of you guys. all my sponsors from the Tokyo fight. I know that one didn't work out some ways, but appreciate you guys sticking around. And my wife, Shaylee, Afton baby, love you. Blaine, you better back that fucking shit up because I'm looking to make it quick. I want to fight again in Florida in September. Come on.
September. That's like just a couple weeks. That's a couple weeks out, man.
As soon as I signed with Kevin, he hit me up and he was like, "What's the goal, man? What are you trying to do?"
On the Hollywood card?
I feel like there's that one, and I don't know. They're down there all the fucking time.
They are. They are.
Yeah, I love fighting down there. The crowd's awesome. I got family down there, so.
You just got done telling us how happy. Hold on, Justyn. You just got done telling us how happy you are to have 8 weeks notice before a fight, and you're telling us you want to go beat Blaine in a minute here, and then go fight 4 weeks
been
later
in camp
and
for fucking 8 weeks, dude.
Use it all up
for 8 weeks. Yep, 8 weeks. School just started for the little one. Like, we got a spring break coming up.
You're ready to burn the candle from both ends.
I love it, dude. Well, hey, best of luck to you August 16th against Blaine Warbritton. You guys both seem very confident. You both seem like you don't want to make it out of one round. Both looking to do quick work here. Mike, you got anything else for Justyn Martinez before we let him go?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, make sure you tune in August 16th. You see it right here. They will be on this card. Lindsay versus Burrito. Sean Wheelock wants everybody to show up there. That's Sean Wheelock's spot. He loves Kansas. I believe he's from Kansas. He was like, you guys got to come to this card. And we wish we could. We will be at the Florida event. We won't be at this one. Wish we could be there with you guys covering that event. But good luck to both of you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Justyn. We will obviously catch up with you again in the future as we have in the past, man. So thank you for coming on. And everybody else, we will be right back after this. Take care, Justyn.
Later, Justyn.
Thanks, guys.
Her occupation, she is a nutritionist and stands 5'5" tall. Her measurements are what the good Lord gave me with brown hair and hazel eyes. And something special about herself, she is a United States Navy veteran. That is number 10. From Linden, Washington, that is Ayanna. All right,
Ayanna. And that was the new ring card girl at the BKFC Sturgis event.
Yep.
She won that. She won that event that she was on stage. So she went. She worked the weigh-ins show.
Mm-hmm.
After the weigh-in show, she went and entered that freaking bikini contest or whatever that was. Some biker chick contest.
There was a few levels, I think, to it.
Yeah. So dude, and then. I'll tell you right now, that's a busy girl because she didn't take any time off. Like she was mingling with the crowd. She was having a good time. She was marketing herself. And then, so she worked the weigh-ins. She won that contest. We seen her around different places. She worked the event the next night. And then she was out after the event. I was a fan of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she looked like that. And she's a veteran.
That doesn't hurt. And she's a veteran. That is right. Exactly.
Yeah. Did anybody catch what Jordan's shirt said? I love motorboating. Yeah, this kid, our boy from the Army, shows up out there with 2 shirts that he wore 2 nights in a row. I'm going to tell these people what they say because I thought they were so funny. The first one says, I love motorboating on it.
And it had a picture of a boat on it.
Had a picture of a boat. And he's walking around this biker rally with a I love motorboating shirt on. And the amount of girls that were like,
it worked.
He's like,
it worked.
It's fucking hilarious. The very next night, he shows up at the event and it says,
what did it say on it?
It says integrity, greatness, passion, all in white letters. But the I in integrity was yellow.
Yeah.
The the eat
EAT.
in greatness was
Yep.
yellow, and the ass in passion was yellow. And so it said, I eat ass on his shirt.
I'm telling you, it's a perfect place to have t-shirts like that because this is a wild crowd just there to have a good time from the 2nd to the 11th. So we had a blast
It was so
there.
funny.
It was
Dude,
the best.
And Mike, do you
I
remember
loved
what the
every
guy
moment of
sitting
it.
next to Jordan had on? So if you go up in the VIP section where they were sitting, Jordan sits down in his seat and he's got the integrity, greatness, passion, I eat ass shirt on.
Yeah.
The guy sitting next to him had a shirt that said, let me see your butthole.
That's the kind of event this was.
Yeah, sitting right next to each other. They looked at each other and they were like, hey,
hey.
fucking high five. And dude, it was
fate brought us together tonight.
Yeah, they were meant to sit next to each other. It was so funny, dude. Oh man, great times. You know what? Hey, talking to Blaine and Justyn tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to expect in this fight because I'm not familiar with the way Blaine fights, but we do know that Justyn comes like shot out of a cannon, right off the line, swinging crazy. He does land some shots, and but he gets hit too. I'm very, very curious to see how this plays out with a skilled boxer that knows how to take the gloves off and pick his shots. And that's the way he just described his style. He knows he knows when to set up the power shot, but he also did tell us he knows that he expects Justyn to come in winging fucking shots. So, I mean, Justyn just heard him say that. So like, I don't know if he like changes plans. I don't know if they change the way he changes the way he approaches this one compared to the rest of them. He hasn't changed his approach in any of the fights so far. So why would we expect him to do it this time? I'm very curious about this, dude. Very curious because the way Blaine was talking, he seems like, and this has nothing to do with like comparing them as fighters because I don't know, but we talked about it. Kai Stewart markets himself as good as anybody, like better than everybody out there. And I give that kid props all the time. He gets out there. He gets on radio stations. He tries to get to every single event he can. He will get on every podcast he can. He will talk to everybody that will fucking listen. And he pumps himself up, but he pumps the sport. He wants to be the king of bare knuckle. So in the process of marketing himself, he's marketing the sport. And I got that vibe off of Blaine when we were talking to him earlier. Did you kind of get any of that?
Absolutely. I watched the full news segment that the Bare Knuckle Show put on. I went and I looked it up right away, watched the full thing, and I just watched it on the way home from work again. The way he talks, I feel like is the same way that we talk. He's got all the points. He knows exactly about the sport. That's the great thing because you can teach people. People don't know anything about the sport. If I know anything about what we've been doing for the last, a little bit over 4 years, nobody knows exactly what's going on. But when you tell them what's going on, they're like, their eyes get wide. They get excited. They're like, this is a thing. This is real. Gloves are off. Is it actually bare knuckle? It's like, yes, it's actually bare knuckle. That's why it's called Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And it's been illegal in the friggin' States until 2018. You start telling them all this stuff. It's fast paced. You don't have to worry about jujitsu, wrestling, boom, boom, boom. He hits all the points when he's on the show anyways. So I like it. I like what I see. I like what I hear. As far as the fight goes, I would assume that Justyn Martinez will approach this fight differently because, like you said, he hasn't changed it up to this point, but he's got a new he's training a little differently. That's what we hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he heard that his opponent knows what he's going to do too. I mean, the fight's 8 days out, so I don't know if it's time to change up what he's going to do at this point. I mean, he's got to know that his opponent knows. He can see all his fights, so there's nothing new there. So we'll see if he changed it up, but yeah, I'm pretty excited. I always love to, meet, talk to, and see new fighters in this sport. It's probably the best part of it, really learning about the new fighters and then seeing them fight, see how they do. And if he is successful, Blaine, and he goes and he continues marketing the way he is, well, there's probably a nice, there's some gold at the end of the rainbow, as they say.
I love it, man. Hey, I'm excited about this fight. I'm glad we got both those guys on for sure. Yeah. I want to give away some shit.
Yes, let's give away some shit.
I want to give away some stuff. Mike, we have some awesome coasters made for us to give away by the great Russ of the Extreme BKFC fans page. Look at these coasters here.
Heyo.
Heyo. We're going to give away
What a
that
holder.
coaster set with the holder. That thing is beautiful. Very cool, man. Very awesome. And it's got the Mission Accomplished logo on there. That's our business logo. That was the original podcast name for about, I don't know, maybe 50. I continued doing Mission Accomplished on Wednesdays while we did Mike and Mish on Thursdays for a long time. For, I don't know, probably 40 fucking episodes. I don't know. I would have to go back and look at the history of the show. But it just got to the point where, like, we'd have fighters scheduled to be on Thursday with me and Mike on the Mike and Mish show. And they'd say, hey, can I come on Wednesday instead? It's better for my schedule. And I'd be like, Mike, can you do a show with me on Wednesday instead of Thursday? But we have this other person scheduled for Thursday. So we still got to do Thursday, but you got to come on the show with me on Wednesday and talk to this person because you planned on talking to them anyway. And then that happened like so, pretty often to the point where we're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just on both shows now. It's the Mike and Mish show. Let's do this. So now you have to have been a follower of this show from the jump.
Or use Google.
Or use Google.
Or go to YouTube.
If you want to win that set of coasters from the BKFC Extreme BKFC fans page, there it is. All you got to do is answer this question. Who was the very first guest on episode 1 of the Mission Accomplished podcast? Prior to Mike and Mish, the Mission Accomplished podcast, the very first episode took place on Veterans Day 2020, almost 4 years ago. Hint, he has worked with the BKFC. So there's a little hint for you. That doesn't necessarily mean he has fought, but you never know. All you got to do is tell me who was the very first guest I ever talked to on the Mission Accomplished podcast. Drop that in the comment section. Tell me this person's name, and you will get those coasters so you don't put rings on your coffee tables.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. I don't like that. I don't like when I go to people's houses and they have rings on the coffee tables.
Hey, while people are looking that up, Mike, Tuesday on the...
You don't have this coaster, though. Look at it.
Yeah, I got that. I got that coaster right here. Look at this bad boy made by our boy Absent Minded and Falcon 09. Baby. These guys are the best out. Our Cali boys. Shout out, let's go, boy.
Shout out, let's go. Wow, we haven't played that for a while. Let me get to that right now. Hold on a second.
Shout out, let's go, boy.
Damn, it's been a while since we played that.
Yeah, shout out, let's go, boy. Hey, while people are trying to figure out who the first the Mike and I'm on the Mike and Mish show, the first ever guest on the Mission Accomplished podcast, while you're looking for that answer, it's not Dean Thomas, but he was in the first 10 episodes, probably.
Yeah.
While they're looking at this, Mike, David Feldman was on Brian Socha's show the other day. He got like a phone call or a text message or something about the biggest, and I quote from David Feldman himself, this will be the biggest fight in combat sports history. Man, it is hard to figure this one out because he said it's a boxer versus an MMA fighter. He said the ground shakes when this person walks. He says it will be a catch weight, which is...
I know. The catch weight, I think, is something to throw people off.
That's throwing me off. So Mike and I were like discussing it. While you're trying to find the answer to our question, if you guys have any guesses on who you think it might be, me and him were debating it today. And like, I'll be honest with you. When I heard boxer versus MMA fighter, biggest of all time, Falcon 09 got it. Oh man, look at him. Get that question mark off there, my friend, because you got it, my friend. That it is combat sports judge and referee Brian Miner out of Connecticut. Yep. Trained at Kobaru, at Ram Rogers Academy of Mixed Martial Arts. Peter Rogers Sr. runs that school. Peter Rogers Jr. holds 2 records for Bellator in the bantamweight division. And Brian has a black belt under those gentlemen here in Connecticut. And is from Norwich, I believe, or maybe Montville. He's from right around here. But very first guest I ever had on the show, right there, Brian Miner. So
he also has Native American blood, right?
Yes, he is part of the Mohegan tribe. Yep, he's part of the Mohegan tribe, and he refereed and judged the first Bulgaria card for the BKFC.
Yep. And I had another one. I'll say it in a sec. And another fun fact is at that gym that you were just talking about, that's where they held the BKFC Connecticut tryouts too. So there's another.
No, that wasn't that gym.
Nugget. That wasn't Peter Rogers' gym?
No, that wasn't Peter Rogers' gym. Peter Rogers was there.
I'm wrong.
That was Kent Ward's gym. That was Brennan Ward's dad's gym, but Peter was there. We talked to him that day.
Okay.
So,
I thought it was his gym.
Before we get off tonight, just so you guys know, what I want you to do is I want you guys to drop in the comment section of this. That
was an alternative fact.
This episode, either on YouTube or Facebook. Drop in the comments who you think this super fight is, because Mike and I were like talking about it, and we're talking about it. We're narrowing. I'm like, is it Ryan Garcia versus? And the first thing I thought of was Ryan Garcia versus somebody, and I thought maybe GSP, because that would shock the world. But then I'm like, GSP will never fight. And I said GSP will never fight bare knuckle. Then I'm like,
he definitely doesn't shake the ground when he walks.
And he doesn't shake the ground when he walks on. Then I'm like, maybe he's like, figuratively speaking, where he goes, he's such a popular figure, he shakes the ground. Maybe Jake Paul versus Mike Perry rematch, bare knuckle. Maybe. I doubt it.
I don't think that's the biggest fight ever in all of combat sports, right?
I said to Mike today what would be, and this would be, and it would be, and I 100 million% agree. This, if they were to announce Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor 2, bare knuckle, that would be the biggest fight in the history of the fucking world. It would, because one, nobody would ever expect Floyd to fight bare knuckle, and two, Conor would somehow have to get out of his UFC final 2 fights, released from his contract, and those two fighting. If those two rematched with no gloves on, it would stamp that be the biggest thing that ever happened in combat sports. I wholeheartedly believe that. But then we were like, that's probably not going to happen. Who's a giant, big heavyweight that makes sense? Tyson Fury in the past has said that he is the gypsy. He would try bare knuckle. He is no longer the boxing heavyweight champion after losing to Usyk. So a 6'9", 275-pound Tyson Fury, who is no longer the boxing champ, bare knuckle versus, and then at first we said Francis Ngannou, but they just announced Francis Ngannou is fighting for the PFL in a few months. He's back. So I said, and me and Mike both said, Brock Lesnar, Tyson Fury, gigantic heavyweight MMA fighter versus giant heavyweight boxer. Catch weight would probably be the fact that Brock Lesnar walks around like 320 pounds now. Fury is like a 270 guy.
Yeah, I feel like that catch weight is to kind of throw you off. Like, it's going to be.
They did a Tyson Fury versus Brock Lesnar bare knuckle fight at a catch weight of like 280, and said, Brock, you have to make it down to 280 or 275, something like that. That could be it, dude. We could be on to something.
Yeah, Joe Ivy speaks of Yoel Romero, and I would love to see him fight, but I believe
who would he fight to be the biggest fight of all time? Like the biggest fight ever.
Way, right? He's not even in the conversation of money.
No way.
You know what I mean? Like he's just not. the guy, and that's the thing. So I don't know. That's what my head is trying to explore, all the biggest money fight names and putting them together.
We were saying names. Whose names would have to be involved? And then we're like Anderson Silva, but Anderson Silva's 49 years old. He's not in that conversation anymore. He's lost like his last 9 fights.
He'll get a big draw. A lot of MMA fans will want to see it, but is it the biggest? He's not bigger. He's not a bigger star right now than Jake Paul. He's not a bigger star right now than
if you're going to say like 5 names that have to be in the conversation to make it the biggest combat sports fight of all time, like Conor McGregor's name has to be in there.
Yep. You said Floyd Mayweather. He's another
Floyd
guy.
Mayweather. Canelo Alvarez
would be pretty big. Canelo.
But Conor would have to be in the conversation, but he has to somehow.
John Jones.
John Jones.
He's not
like those guys are under contract with the UFC, and you know that Dana White's not going to let them out of their contract ever. He's not going to do it. So Conor's going to be fucking handcuffed to Dana and the UFC until he fights out that contract. So I think you could eliminate him from the conversation.
Yep.
Khabib could be in the conversation, but does anybody want to see him box bare knuckle? I don't know. I would watch it for sure.
I would definitely watch it, but sure. not interested in them doing that.
Shakes the ground he walks on.
Happened, dude, I don't want it to happen. That makes any sense.
Said, shakes the ground he walks on. MMA versus boxing. Biggest fight in combat sports history. I'm starting to think that we might be onto something with the Fury versus Lesnar.
Yeah, because Lesnar's been brought up recently. He brought up
he's a free agent. Angle, he's not wrestling anymore.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
And so there you go with that. And like you said, now that Fury isn't the champion, he can do something and not have to worry about what if he loses and he's just not a champion. So it's fine now. You know, I feel like that kind of frees him up to just kind of go and do something silly, crazy. Not even really silly, but you know what I mean? Getting away from
Tyson. Say he does venture over into bare knuckle and he loses, he just retires and he goes off into the sunset with the $150 million that he's made as a boxer. You know what I mean? Like, and also remember, let's rewind it back to like, if they did Floyd and Conor too, it would be like a $400 million night, and there's no way they would fucking be able to afford.
No way, that would be insane.
There's no way they'd be able to afford that.
Oh man, it would.
But they could probably put $120. They could probably put $120 pay-per-view charge on that and sell a bunch of pay-per-views if it doesn't get pirated off the internet.
And it will.
Man. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick before we wrap up the show here. That was the one thing that I have been thinking about for like the last 3 days now, Tuesday, Wednesday, today. Who is he?
Ryan Garcia, did we say?
We did say Ryan Garcia. I said Ryan Garcia versus somebody could be something. Maybe Ryan Garcia versus versus Perry or something like that. But that wouldn't be the biggest of all time. When he says
I know
the biggest combat sports fight of all time, MMA versus boxing, but you don't just have to think heavyweight. You have to think top 5. So you have to think top 5 names of all time,
right?
That can still fight. And Fury is a top 5 heavyweight of all time. Floyd's a top 3 boxer of all time.
Yeah, but he's not a heavyweight.
He's not a heavyweight. So, man, oh man, they're gonna make us wait till next week to fucking hear the answer. So, with that said, guys, Ngannou's fighting in November, I think.
Yeah.
For PFL.
This is supposed to be in November.
Yeah, he's fighting the dude. He's fighting the PFL heavyweight.
Yeah.
So, dude. Thank you to Blaine. Thank you to Justyn for coming on tonight. It was great talking to both of them.
Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury.
But Anthony Joshua is still very much in the mix for boxing champion. You know what I mean? Like the Tyson Fury one makes a lot of sense now that he's not the champion.
Yeah.
Now that he's not the champion and Brock Lesnar being a free agent from pro wrestling and MMA. Makes sense. Former UFC heavyweight champion versus former lineal champion. I don't know. It's just
Nate
we are
Diaz versus Conor McGregor.
Nate Diaz versus, and remember earlier today when we were talking, I said maybe Nate Diaz versus Ryan Garcia, but that doesn't scream greatest combat sports fight of all time.
No.
Jorge Masvidal versus Ryan Garcia. That's MMA versus boxing, not the biggest fight of all time. I think, man, I cannot wait. The fan in me just can't wait till next week to hear it, if we hear it next week at all. So with that said, hey, last shout out, Bucked Up. Go to buckedup.com. Go to buckedup.com. Use promo code Mike and Mish 20. Get yourself some supplements. Get yourself some energy drinks, and get yourself some apparel. And you'll thank us later. Great stuff. Get 20% off your total purchase. Head over to Dynamic Life at LIV Dynamic on Instagram. There's a link in the bio. Hit the link. Just takes 20 seconds to become a patient. Get your weight loss in check, sexual health in check, and your anti-aging going. And then join the Rasha Revolution. Get over to at Rasha Revolution on Instagram. There's a link in that bio. And if you're not on Instagram, go to www.therasha.com and get the mindset of a champion, my friend. With that said, Mike, we have been burning the candle at both ends. It is 10:13, which is a beautiful time to cut this off. Do you have anything else for the people?
I am very tired, people.
Thank you guys for tuning in 2 nights in a row like we always do. We love you guys, and we will see you next week. Make sure you tune in this weekend when Connor Turney fights. Who the hell is he fighting?
I got this here. I got this.
Jesus, that's how my mind is mush right now.
Graham.
Yeah, there it is, Graham. Turney and Graham. Jesus, I couldn't even think of the name. That's how fucking tired I am. And David Oscar, David, whatever, however you say it.
David Diaz.
Yeah, David Diaz, Oscar is going to be on there. It's going to be a good one. It is for the inaugural BKFC Europe welterweight title. So tune into that. That's what we're going to be watching this weekend. With that said,
in the noontime.
It's at noon.
It's at 2.
Oh, there you go. 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. What else are you going to be doing?
Yeah, it's in Europe.
Hopefully you're resting up. You're sitting on your couch with your feet up
for UK fights.
Sitting on the couch, feet up, drink in hand, watching some fights on a Saturday afternoon. That sounds like a good weekend to me. Mike, I got nothing else for the peeps. Peace.